That was too early. Let Brett Hundley play. Whatever happens, happens. If the Packers don't make the playoffs or they get eliminated at this point, the best thing and the best interest for the Packers is a healthy Aaron Rodgers. Whatever that is. If that's going into next season, if he's healthy enough to play at the end of the season and maybe they still in the run, I get it. But as far as like right now, let's stop with all him throwing. You know what? If you really want to see he all right, let him go out there and practice and let someone jump on him, and belly flop on him. And if he gets up, then I'm like, okay, he's good to go. But until you're doing something like that, he could throw the ball 80 yards. I could care less. That's not his problem. His problem is somebody falling on him, or somebody hitting him in that collarbone or him falling on it himself. So again, stop with the Aaron Rodgers nonsense. That's all it is. It's just hype. It's just hype until he's actually out there suited up, starting. That's when I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. That's when I want to go and analyze what can he bring to the current game that he's in. Can he bring them back? Can he, win that particular game? That's when I want to do that. So let's get off the Aaron Rodgers nonsense, and we'll pour into some more nonsense. Yeah, University of Tennessee. I'm going to the college ranks. So my phone goes off, and it's like Tennessee is going to hire Greg Schiano. Now I thought I was a little bit of a surprise, but I'm like, okay, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Greg Schiano probably will be good, for this organization. Then it comes out, a riot ensues, and now all this anger at Greg Schiano being hired from Tennessee fans, and I'm sure boosters and whoever else maybe got to say so, but now they are just upset. Now, some of this, of course, we know Greg Schiano was mentioned in the whole Penn State scandal. Now, he was not charged with anything. He was cleared. But there is a rumor out there that he knows a little something about it, or he was there when some of it went down, but none of that was proved. So I can't, if it's not proved, unfortunately, I can't use that against Greg Schiano, because when folks getting ready to go to jail, you'll be amazed at what people will do to either lower their sentence or you just be like, you know what? I'm not doing this by myself. There's no way I'm doing this by myself. So I can't use that. Now, my first question, on this is that where's Tennessee getting this where the fans where y'all calling shots? Y'all could, I get it. The boosters, if you're dropping the money and all that stuff, but all these fans are outraged, about, what's going on and all that stuff. When did y'all get to the point of being able to call the shots like that? I know you're paying customers, but you really haven't had anyone come through there. You just got rid of Butch Davis. You had Lane Kiffin. That didn't work out. I mean, it's not like you had these all-time great coaches coming in, and it's just like, hey, this is where we're at. We're at this level. I think y'all need to pump your brakes a little bit, Tennessee. Greg Schiano, if you haven't forgot, if you forgot, he was known for being, turning around Rutgers. Nobody was talking about Rutgers as a football program before Greg Schiano got there. It didn't work out in the NFL with Tampa. I mean, he had a little bit of success, but some guys are better for college than they are for pros. And maybe that's it. He went to Ohio State. He was their D coordinator. And, he getting some buzz about himself. Now, the other thing about this whole situation, now it's getting ugly and it's getting embarrassing. So you say, look, we don't want Schiano. Now, and the thing is, they may still owe Schiano some money, because there was, I guess, a gentleman's handshake or whatever you will, some type of paperwork, filed that he would be the coach, and then they stepped out of it. So you may still have to pay him. But now you say you don't want him, and you go after these other coaches, and let's go down the list. John Gruden, he said no. They talked to Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy. He said no. Duke's Dave Cutcliffe, he said no. Purdue's Jeff Brom, they've been in the talks with him. He hasn't said no, but he hasn't said yes. And now they're looking at NC State, Dave Doran. And what I'm getting at this is that now you're going down your list because your list always starts from the top down. So we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coaches. Who else is on this list? Al Pacino from any given Sunday? I mean, who else are you going to go out there and get and say, you know what? This is our guy. It's getting embarrassing now. Now the university is looking bad because it's just like, did anybody want this gig or did something happen with this whole thing with Schiano? It's just like, you know what? That's a toxic situation for me right there. I don't want to touch that, Last thing I'll touch on this is whoever they get at this point, I'm telling all Tennessee Volunteer fans, this one is on you. And what I mean by that, all these other coaches have turned y'all down. Some coach is going to say yes. Some coach is going to look at this as an opportunity. Some coach that probably wouldn't have gotten this type of opportunity in their career is going to accept this job. So what I want from Tennessee fans is that this college coach, whoever it is that you guys decides to pick up or choose, I want y'all to ride and die with that coach. I don't want to hear anybody complaining. I don't want to hear about, we're not getting any recruits. We're not winning any SEC games. Because this is all you. You fans got this coach that's coming in. You had a coach. You didn't want him. Now you thought your university could just pull, other coaches. They said no. So if y'all come out and y'all sorry, and as my friend, as my homeboy Jay from Marietta says, wiggity whack. That's all on y'all. You can't complain. And I sure don't want to hear you talk about we need a new coach because you had a coach and you ran him off. So I'm just saying, if you got something solid, with it, if it's something concrete, fine. I get it. But so far with Schiano, it was just all hearsay, just hearsay, So I just don't get it. Let's see. Y'all got to bear with me for a second with this one. Now, I haven't touched on it, a lot because I didn't want people to think, here we go. Here we go, Jelani. But now I have to bring up the Detroit Pistons. Yes, those Detroit Pistons in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, I will be the first one to say, you've heard me say it on the show, is that I thought the Pistons were going to struggle. I thought they were in a rebuild mode. I thought they still are building. Don't get me wrong, but I did not see them being 13-6 at this point in the season. It's still early. And second place in the Eastern Conference. Now, they may, fall to third because Cleveland is catching steam, and we'll talk about Cleveland a little bit later in the show, but they are 13-6 right now. You got to give the Pistons credit for showing up early in the season. So kids, get up, get in here. Give it up for the Pistons. Yeah. So the Pistons are, a surprise team out of the East. And I went back and I looked, and someone else brought this stat up. And you could say, people would say, oh, they probably, beat a bunch of sorry teams. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 13 wins. They got 6 wins. Now check this. They got 2 wins against Minnesota. The Minnesota, I said 50 games. Book it. They beat the Clips. They beat the Warriors. They beat Oklahoma City. And they just recently beat Boston. Now, the biggest thing about all these wins, other than the Minnesota win, they won at home and on the road. But the rest of these, they won all of them on the road. That's a big accomplishment for any team, especially to go out west. The Clips, Minnesota, the Warriors, OKC, and then you come to the Eastern Conference where the number 1 team that's been hot, and you beat them on the road too. These Pistons, dare I say, no, I'm not going to say it, but these Pistons are looking a tad bit like the 04 Pistons. And what I'm getting at about that is that you're getting contributions from everyone. 2004, that whole run that they ran, Chauncey Billups was their biggest star, if you ask me. And it wasn't a mega superstar. You got contributions from everyone. You got contributions from Rip Hamilton. You got contributions from Ben Wallace, even though he didn't want to shoot. He would go in there and get you about 15, 20 rebounds. You had Hamilton. You had Tayshaun Prince, Richard Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince. So you had quality guys, across the board. And they got some quality guys. They traded away some people. They let some people go like Caldwell Pope. He's out in LA and they didn't re-sign him, but they kept a lot of the guys that they had and they added, Kennard out of Duke. But I want to just point out some things here. And here's what I'm talking about, with the balance, with their team. Avery Bradley, they got him from Boston. I love that they got Avery Bradley. I love Avery Bradley. To me, he's underrated as a player. People don't give him enough props. Even when he was in Boston, he was balling. And he's a guy that can defend the ball. So Avery Bradley is averaging 16 points, a little bit over 16 points right now. But he's shooting 43% from three-point range. Tobias Harris, they got him from Orlando. Remember, they got him in mid-season. So he's their best scorer right now at 19 points, but he's shooting 47% from three-point range. Reggie Jackson, the biggest thing about Reggie Jackson, I think, is that not that he recognized this or he acknowledges this or anything like that, but it's the fact that Reggie's not the man. When he came from Oklahoma City, that was the whole thing. It was like, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to be the man, but I don't think that needed to be his role. And it didn't work out well. Just being a part of the offense and part of the team will work enough. And he's averaging 15 points, and the biggest, to me, the biggest addition to this team is someone they already had, but what they did in the offseason. Andre Drummond, he's averaging 14 points, but forget all that. The man right now is shooting 61, almost 62% from the free throw. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but when Andre Drummond went, they had Hacker Drummond, and it's been backfiring. So when Andre Drummond was going to the free throw line, it was ugly. It was Bill Walton horrible, and he was a liability where he couldn't be on the court at times where they needed him. And he went in the offseason. He got his game better, which is what you're supposed to do. And his brother is almost shooting 62%. And I know y'all saying, man, 62% ain't really that great. No, it is. He was in the 40s before this. 40s. Yes. So For this team, I just like where they're going. I still think they need, some pieces. They will probably go through a little bit of a stretch where they struggle, but they are looking like they could be a playoff team, and they are a team back to being, nobody want to see Detroit. They may lose the playoffs series, but they're going to make it hard on someone if they do. So that, to me, the Detroit Pistons, man,